Hello aspirants, welcome to Ekam IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about Vinesh Phogat and what is her context in Indian Lok Sabha. So in the recent times you all have seen, so we have expected some gold medal or silver medal from Vinesh Phogat because of her performance in Olympics and all. But heartbreaking thing is we have seen her disqualified from the game just because of some overweight in terms of grams or something, so which is not eligible or which has disqualified her from the game. Okay, so that is very like you can say, which is unfortunate incident which should not happen. Entire nation is with her. We are really proud of her, right? So in this context, what actually happened is, so to discuss about the Vinesh Phogat, right? So in the recent times, if you have observed, so Indian government, okay, so they have even hired Haresh Salve, who was a prominent senior advocate to fight her cause even in the Indian Olympic Association. On behalf of this, they have filed a case also to again decide with respect to her disqualification. If that is not allowed, okay, so at least we have to settle her for one particular medal also. In that context, Indian government is trying, right? So in taking this to discuss and all, so Indian Parliament, especially in Indian Parliament, one of the opposition party, so they have brought an adjournment motion to discuss about Vinesh Phogat disqualification case. So in this context, let us look into what is adjournment motion. Why did one opposition party, they have suddenly brought this adjournment motion? What are the features and what happens when this is moved? Is the government having any responsibility to resign and all? So let us discuss in a quick and informative way. So first thing, we have an important announcement regarding TGPSC Group 1 mains test series, which is about to start from 9th of August. Okay, so this has already started. If you want to enroll, you can further have your doubts clarified by contacting us on the number displayed, right? So you will be sitting here and writing almost for 600 plus questions, where you will be writing total 88 tests, including 59 daily tests and 12 sectional tests, including 6 essay tests, as well as 5 revision tests and 1 mega grant test. So after each test, you will be given detailed explanation copy, as well as your evaluation copy will be given in 3 working days, right? There is also another announcement regarding essay and ethics module under Oberoi sir guidance. Sir is very good in teaching essay and ethics, so he will definitely give a boost to your score and performance with respect to essay and ethics. So how to improve your score and how to present a multi-dimensional essay will be comprehensively covered by sir. So if you want to contact, you can contact on the same number displayed on the screen for further details, right? Then, so what is the main discussion about? So because recently we have seen Vinesh Phogat getting disqualified and all, entire nation wants her disqualification to be reverted back, right? So for that reason, Indian National Congress, which is a primary opposition party in the Lok Sabha, has brought an adjournment motion. So what is this adjournment motion and how it is related to this issue? Let us discuss now. So first thing we have to understand is, what is this adjournment motion? So adjournment motion means what? So a resolution which is subjected to voting is called as motion. So different types of motions are there that we'll be discussing in further concepts, okay? But first, for the time being, we need to understand adjournment motion means to bring the attention of the House to one public urgent issue, right? Urgent public issue or importance. We can bring a motion by taking the permission of the speaker, at least with the support of 50 members. So that is what we call it as adjournment motion. So that means when we want the House to discuss on urgent public importance issue, we will pass this adjournment motion with the permission of the speaker or the presiding officer. This normally happens only in Lok Sabha. The most important thing is there is no concept for Rajya Sabha to introduce this adjournment motion. Then it requires the support of 50 members at least to introduce in the House. Then what actually happens? So once if it is admitted, initially the House at least should discuss about this for almost 2 hours 30 minutes. Minimum time this has to be given for discussion on this particular issue, because whatever that is going in the House, you're putting all that aside and you are trying to discuss on that particular issue which was passed by adjournment motion. So that is why we need to give some time for this, and that much time is minimum of 2 hours 30 minutes, right? Then what is the most important thing? Once if adjournment motion is passed, it doesn't mean that government has to resign, but definitely it will be like a censure for the government, right? That is one most important thing you have to keep in mind. Then understanding the restrictions. So once if an adjournment motion has to be passed, then there are certain restrictions also. That means it should have a definite reason. At the same time, it should also be recent reason also the public important issue. At the same time, it should not involve any element of privilege of one of the members of the parliament, or it should not discuss anything related to matter which is sub judice. That means which is under the court, okay, jurisdiction and all. Such matters cannot be initiated. So there are certain restrictions. These cannot be entertained, right, under adjournment motion. Then let us understand different types of motions. So apart from adjournment motion, we have other types of motions like closure motion, right? So closure motion means what? So when we wanted to cut off the debate, so when we think, okay, so this matter is discussed enough and we can now end the debate, then any member of the house can pass this closure motion. That means you just cut off this debate, right? Then no confidence motion. The name itself is self-explanatory, right? No confidence. That means, you know, under Article 75 Clause 3, which talks about the main principle of parliamentary form of government, where it says executive is collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha, right? That means they can enjoy the office only until they have the majority in the Lok Sabha, right? When the opposition or any other member of the house feels that this particular government is not having majority in the house, that means they are not having any confidence, then they can initiate this, right, with the speaker's permission. Again, they require minimum of 50 members support, right? This is a minimum strength that is required. So here they need not actually state the reasons. No need of stating any reasons why they are introducing, but they can, just by securing the support of 50 members, they can initiate this particular motion. So what actually happens? This has to be initiated only in the Lok Sabha. Only in Lok Sabha. It cannot be used like adjournment motion in Rajya Sabha. Same like this also in adjournment motion. But here if you see, unless this is defeated, the government has to resign. That means once if a no confidence motion is passed, government is obliged to resign. But whereas adjournment motion is passed, they need not resign, but it will be like a censure to the government, right? Criticism to the government. Then what is a privilege motion? Privilege itself is a special type of right. So whenever any person of the house believes that one particular minister or any particular member is breaching any privilege which is normally given to him, or for example, if he's trying to dislodge or he's trying to hide any information which he has a constitutional obligation to disclose to the house and all, in that situation, that member can pass privilege motion. So what is the difference between these two, no confidence and privilege? Means no confidence motion can be passed against the entire Council of Ministers, not against individual minister. But privilege motion can be passed against individual minister also, not only against all the Council of Ministers, but only on even the single minister also we can pass this privilege motion. If you have remembered, in the recent times, one of the opposition party also have raised a concern that we are trying to pass this privilege motion against the Prime Minister of India, right? So that is what you have to keep in mind. Then what is motion of thanks? This motion of thanks, so whenever the parliament addresses, or you can say when the Lok Sabha especially sits for the very first time in the first financial year, you can say, or the first budget session of that particular year, or after newly elected as Lok Sabha assembles for the very first time, then what happens? President generally addresses the joint sitting. So whatever the president highlights as part of her speech or his speech, that has to be voted upon. That we call it as motion of thanks. If this motion of thanks is not passed in the houses, then government has to resign, right? This is what you have to keep in mind. Then what is cut motion? So you know, in the process of enactment of the budget, there will be certain demands that are put forward by the respective ministries to the house. So in case if the demand is not voted upon, or if the demand is defeated, then a cut motion can be passed. So that means if you don't believe that this much demand is not actually required for that particular ministry or department, then you can initiate a cut motion. Once if a cut motion is initiated, then the government has to resign. Okay, this is also in a situation. That means till now whatever we have discussed among the no confidence motion, cut motion, and we also have seen motion of thanks. In these three motions, if they are not passed, government has to resign, right? Then short duration discussion, right? Short. One thing is, again I'm correcting this, privilege motion or adjournment motion, for this if they are passed, government need not resign. No confidence motion, if it is passed, government has to resign. Motion of thanks, cut motion also, you have to again resign. Then short duration discussion. So this is highlighted in the rules of the respective house, where they're trying to shorten the discussion with respect to what they're discussing. For example, if you see the adjournment motion and short duration discussion also, both relate to the urgent public matters only, but here the time has to be constrained. For example, it should be minimized to 1.5 hours or 2 hours only, which is on urgent public issue. But there you have to discuss minimum of 2.5 hours at least, because of the importance that that issue generally have. So These are various types of motions and how it is different from each other. Then let us see the practice question for the day. With reference to Indian Constitution, no confidence motion, 3 statements are given. Try to read the statements, take a pause and answer your correct answer in the comment section. Then, as we have reached end of the video, today we have discussed about why adjournment motion was recently initiated in Lok Sabha, to discuss about Vinesh Phogat disqualification issue, what are the features of adjournment motion, how it is different from other motions like no confidence motion, privilege motion, cut motion, motion of thanks, short duration motion. Okay, so like this we have discussed what is the main difference between these, and when government has the constitutional obligation to resign if any of these motions are passed, along with practice question. So this is all with respect to today. If you like the video and found informative, let us know in the comment section. See you again.